is ordinary until you see the core side of it.
And what you're looking for is the story behind the news.
We bring it to you from Lagos, the commercial capital of Nigeria.
Giving you all sides and political stories round the clock.
Every detail from the start line to the final whistle.
CoreTV News, expanding your view.
Hello there, this is CoreTV News at 7 with me, Femi Oguntoye. President Goodluck Jonathan has ordered the immediate removal of the Bring Back Jonathan signs being used by supporters for his second-term bid. The directive is contained in a statement by presidential spokesperson Reuben Abati after a worldwide condemnation with the United States influential newspaper Post describing the use of the slogan as irritating. The Washington Post in its editorial noted that the Bring Back Jonathan hashtag, the sign, is parodying the Bring Back Our Girls hashtag, the social media campaign used to nudge the world to the adoption of over 200 schoolgirls in Chibok, Borno State, by the Boko Haram terrorist group in April. The critics, including the Post, queried the basis for parodying the rescue campaign slogan when the Jonathan's administration had failed to rescue the girls from captivity. But Abati said the signs were being used without Jonathan's knowledge or approval. Labour Party has denied that Ondo State Governor Olusegun Mimiko is dumping aid for the People's Democratic Party. Outgoing party chairman Dan Wanyawu told newsmen after a National Executive Council meeting in Abuja that the governor remains committed to the party ideals. He also disclosed that a new national executive will emerge on October, but insists it won't be standing for re-election. Nigeria's Labour movement has decided to support Labour Party in subsequent elections. The leadership of the Nigeria Labour Congress and Trade Union Congress declared their readiness to back the party at its National Executive Council meeting in Abuja. NLC's delegation at the meeting was led by Abdulwahid Omar, while Peter Isele represented TUC. Both men also attended a press briefing where Labour Party announced the realignment. Well, I believe we'll bring you details of that report subsequently. Owing to the leave granted the Osun State People's Democratic Party and the All Progressives Congress by the Election Petition Tribunal to inspect the ballot materials used for the August 9 election, the two parties converged on the INEC office for the exercise, but not without a drama, as the party councillors nearly went for each other's neck on some knotty issues. Rashid was at the INEC office and filed in this report.
No, we are not colleagues, so he caused it. He was holding the document. He said it's not touched. We are not colleagues, don't say that we are colleagues.
That was the situation earlier in the day as an exercise meant for legal representatives was nearly turned to a political jamboree before order was restored. The administrative secretary of INEC, Oladipo Oladapo, however, assures the political parties of level playing field.
We have our facts. We are focused. Ours is to ensure absolute transparency. I will follow it strictly. So we ask for your cooperation at your time, please. And let us do the right thing. Both parties, please, you know the right thing. Please adhere strictly to the right thing. I will guarantee transparency.
Councils to both PDP and APC find themselves at loggerhead over the interpretation of the PDP's application of Exhibit A. The lawyers later threw caution to the wind as they decided to settle the matter the straight way.
They said they want to inspect Exhibit A. Go and bring Exhibit A for Obokun in your roster. That you have showed. I'm not finished. I've not finished. Don't tell me that. A lawyer that knows his onion will list. Yes, no, yes. Will list. Let us know what to do. We don't know what to do. That's you are so stupid. Don't tell me that.
You said your way.
You are idiot also. You are idiot. You are stupid. It doesn't mean. You are stupid. The language is not professional. That is, we are not arguing on here.
Excuse me, sir.
No, of course now.
Excuse me, sir.
After much delay and argument, the inspection finally commenced, with Obokun local government coming first. Councils to both parties expressed their preliminary observation and expectation on the exercise.
It's a victory for us in the PDP as petitioners that all things you can think of, bombs, were erected in our ways to articulate our position as petitioners. But we thank God, and I say we are victorious in the sense that we have started now, and you can see before we go too far, you see what we are going to see here.
Ordinarily, to us, it doesn't make any difference, and we are even happy that we have started this at the end of the day. The reason that we have discovered from the side of opposition that they are not even serious already with this their inspection thing. Otherwise, there's something they're supposed to have done. And to us, we are ready whenever they are ready, as you can see, because it's in by our own magnanimity that we are here, because the agreement was that we will start by 10 and end by 4, and if you consider this after 4, and we are still on it, and we are ready.
Now that the inspection has finally begun, this is no doubt going to be a rigorous but meticulous task on the side of the political parties and INEC. But this is an all-important task that must be achieved if the Election Petition Tribunal will have any headway when it starts sitting. From INEC office in Oshobo, Rashid, CoreTV News.
Well, the National Conference may have come and gone, but Nigerians are expecting the implementation of recommendations made by the 492 delegates. Speaking on a flagship program, Cool Digest, a representative of the Afenifere at the just concluded National Conference, Yinka Odumaki, says Nigerians should insist on the implementation of recommendations.
What the conference secretary did was to take all our decisions where they have brutalized the national constitution, remove those provisions in the national constitution, put the new provisions we have suggested, and to say this is how our constitution will look like if these provisions are infected. So all the presidents need to do is to take the national constitution and the amended, which some of us call it new constitution, but for those, because of those who are raising scaremongering, okay, amended draft. Take the truth to the people of Nigeria. Which one do you want? Yes or no? Simple. And then we have an autochthonous constitution. And I'm glad that when the president was receiving the report, he did say in his speech that all arms of government and the people of Nigeria should be ready for the different roles the report will assign to them. So we are waiting for the implementation, and Nigerians also must get this report, must read it, bind to it, take it, and hold the president feet to fire, to ensure that he leads, because everything is a waste of time. Let's hold 200 elections. If you don't address these structural problems of Nigeria, we'll get nowhere.
Also on the program, Lagos State Resident Electoral Commissioner Adekunle Ogomola explains the disparity in allocation of polling units between the North and South in the additional 30,000 polling units across the country.
I must say that additional polling units would not mean that more people will vote. What it only means is that
there are more registered voters.
No, not really. For instance, Lagos State has been given a figure of, I think, about 2,450 additional polling units to make it about 11,000 plus from the previous 8,450. But you have some states that the distribution, the population distribution, is not quite even, right? And that means that if you have a place that had 50 voters in a particular polling unit, another place you have 100 voters, meaning that those polling units do not have the maximum of 500, right?
But what is the minimum?
No, there's no minimum.
For a polling unit?
There's no minimum for a polling unit. What we take into consideration is distance, right? To make it convenient for people. We want to ensure that as many people as possible come out to vote. And that is why we want to bring polling units very close to the voters.
Retired military personnel held a peaceful protest in Abuja to demand payment of their pension arrears. The ex-servicemen also vowed to disrupt the 2015 elections if the status quo remains. They were, however, reassured by the Minister of State for Defense, Musiliu Obanikoro, that government will resolve the issues soon.
We've not been paid the review, the pension right review of 2009, which was to take effect from 2010. We haven't been paid. There are those, the radical groups that really feel this nation never listens until we carry arms. And once we carry arms, it proliferates. You never know it's going to be a victim. It's on that basis we keep on sticking to peaceful protests, and we're not going to get tired.
Let me say that their grievances are receiving attention, and you can see that we stood there trying to understand them, trying to also have responded responsibly. And that is why we have seen them, they are calm, and they are talking to each other.
The ECOWAS Commission has called on the defense forces of member states to lend their professional support on efforts here to defeat the Ebola virus disease, which has now claimed more than 2,000 lives in the region since March 2014. Commissioner for Political Affairs, Peace and Security, Salamatu Suleiman, solicited military support at the opening of a 3-day meeting of ECOWAS Chiefs of Defense Staff in Ghana. She noted that Ebola has the potentials to impede development in the region if it's not adequately tackled. The Commissioner also outlined various intervention measures taken by ECOWAS to combat the disease, including setting up a solidarity fund and several multi-stakeholder collaborations. Earlier, Ghana's Minister of Defense, Benjamin Kubo, described the Ebola menace as a worrying situation that requires collective effort. Meanwhile, the Lagos state government has warned against stigmatization of Ebola-treated patients in the state. The State Commissioner for Health, Jide Idris, advised any stigmatized persons to petition the State Attorney General for necessary action. Abiola Luwole's report is presented from our studios.
As the joint effort from both federal and Lagos state governments against the spread of Ebola virus in the country continue to achieve the desired result, stigmatization of treated victims of the populace has become a major hurdle for both the successfully treated patients and governments. Speaking at a media briefing on further efforts of governments to curb the spread of Ebola virus, Lagos State Commissioner for Health, Jide Idris, appeals to citizens to resist the temptation of stigmatizing any treated Ebola victims in the state. He, however, advised any stigmatized Ebola patients to approach the State Ministry of Justice for proper action.
Social problems being faced by discharged cases have been reported severally. These range from stigmatization, eviction from their accommodation, being asked to stay away from work, and frank termination of employment. We've had cases of people, employers just terminating the employment of some of their staff who are just mere contacts, not even suspected cases. We believe this is unfair. I believe this is impinging on their fundamental human rights. I wish to implore all Lagosians once more not to stigmatize all cases and contacts that have been given a clean bill of health, and passionately urge all of us and urge all employers, inclusive, collectively, in fact, to facilitate their reintegration into the society. The Ministry of Justice will take the matter up. Anybody who feels stigmatized can petition the Ministry of Justice, and they will take that matter up because it's not fair, it is not right.
Meanwhile, Idris says the only Ebola case in Lagos at the moment is the one transferred from Rivers State.
You're watching CoreTV News on the Hour. More stories coming up shortly after this time out. Stay with us.
There is an Ebola virus epidemic in some West African countries. The Nigerian government wants you to be aware and watch out against the spread of Ebola in your community. Help keep our country safe. and watch out for severe cases of fever, headaches, diarrhea, chest and abdominal pain, sore throat, cough, red eyes, and bleeding from the eyes, ears, and nose, especially when these symptoms are found in persons coming into Nigeria from other West African countries. Protect yourself. Wash your hands regularly with soap and running water, or use a hand sanitizer. Avoid contact with the blood, urine, feces, or saliva of animals like bats, monkeys, gorillas, chimpanzees, or infected persons. The Ebola virus is deadly. Don't catch it. Don't spread it. This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information.
Welcome back. About 20 policemen are still missing more than 1 month after Boko Haram insurgents took over the Mobile Police Training College in Goza, Benin State. Acting Inspector General of Police Salaman Abba disclosed this to State House correspondents in Abuja. He noted that some of the policemen that were initially declared missing had found their way back to their families.
What's important is the one that is most difficult to do. When you are changing a culture that has been there for too long, then you should know that you are going to face a lot of challenges. Those involved in changes will tell you changing a culture, changing the character, changing attitude of personnel is very, very difficult. Naturally, it comes with resistance. It comes with a lot of challenges on its own, but somehow someone has to do it. I felt I should do it, not minding the team. I must tell you, the turnout of those missing is still impressive because we still have been able to trace some of the officers who have reported either back to their bases. Some have even reported back to their families. When you get through what they went through, the likelihood of you knowing what to do is not very tenable. There's the possibility that the decision of what you do may not be easily comprehensible. So some went back to their homes, and our concern is that once they are in safety, then we are satisfied, and the process of perhaps bringing... You know, every police officer knows that if you are on patrol on the street, there's the likelihood that someone who wants to do what is not right, who wants to commit a crime, sees you as an enemy. So once you are doing a patrol, you should know that there are also dangers associated with policing and associated with patrolling. So to us, facing dangers in the performance of police duties is not new. What is new is that this time around, the enemy is highly armed, and that is why the military is there to support us in fighting them. Thank you.
Nigeria security forces have not foreclosed investigation into claims by Australian hostage negotiator Stephen Davis and Boko Haram sponsors. Government officials discussed these at a security briefing at the National Information Center in Abuja. They also insist that facts would also be required to prove the allegations.
Because I saw a report yesterday on this matter in one of the papers that we said government will not investigate. But other media say government will investigate all information, which was what we gave here. The government will investigate all information made available to it. But you will not rush into investigating or arresting people if you don't have sufficient facts. This came from an open source. The person who himself had confessed not to have been engaged by the government of Nigeria, as was being speculated in the media, but has, just as with any other information relating to criminal activities, the government will not take it lightly, will look into it. The SSS had also spoken about it and said they will investigate Sharif and the rest.
We have asked all Nigerians, if you have facts, present them. There's nobody in Nigeria that is above the law. And of course, you are all aware that the Department of State Services has acted on information it received And even somebody, you know, because the matter is in court, I wouldn't want to talk about it. So we are asking, don't just listen to hearsays. Who are these people? On Friday last week, we had to come out to debunk some of the claims. And we paraded the 6 suspects arrested in connection with the Nyanya bombings. I want to repeat myself if you didn't hear me. None of those 6 suspects in our custody is related by blood to one another.
Watching CoreTV News live from Lagos. More stars coming up shortly after this break. Stay with us.
You can now watch CoreTV News live from anywhere in the world on our website www.coretvnews.com. Click on Live TV on our website and watch us live.
And welcome to CoreTV Primetime News.
To follow us on Twitter, click on Twitter icon on our website. On Facebook, click on the Facebook and YouTube to see all our previous news production. You can also watch us live on YouTube. Click CoreTV, leave a space, then News. CoreTV News, a 24-hour news station.
A preliminary report by Dutch investigators says a Malaysian passenger jet which blew up over Rebel-held East Ukraine with the loss of all 298 people on board was hit by numerous high-energy objects. Now, while the report does not point the finger of blame over the July disaster, it could heighten Western pressure against Moscow over its role in the bloody Ukraine conflict, as well as confirm claims in some quarters that it was downed by a missile.
Images show that pieces of wreckage were punctured in numerous places. The pattern of damage to the body of the aircraft and the cockpit is consistent with the damage that would be expected from a large number of high-energy objects that penetrated the aircraft. The initial results of the investigations point towards an external cause of the MH17 crash. More research will be necessary to determine the cause with greater precision. MH17 proceeded as normal until it ended abruptly. Listening to the communications among the crew members in the cockpit via the cockpit voice recorder revealed no sign of any technical faults or an emergency situation.
And that wraps it on CoreTV News this hour. I'll be back at 9:45 with the primetime news. Join us again.